3 seconds. That is all history gives you to prove whether you will fade into silence or rise into eternity, in a world where power was inherited by tradition and guarded by fear. A young queen stood in the shadow of crumbling greatness. Her nation had once been revered, its name spoken with all across distant lands, but now its glory was slipping away. Trade routes were failing. Confidence was eroding. The people remembered who they used to be, but they no longer believed they could ever become that again. And standing at the center of this fragile moment was a woman many believed should never rule at all. She did not inherit a kingdom at its peak. She inherited doubt. She inherited whispers behind closed doors. She inherited advisors who smiled in her presence and questioned her authority in her absence. She inherited a throne built for men in a time that did not trust women with power. Yet within her burned a quiet certainty. She understood something profound. Nations do not collapse because of enemies alone. They collapse when belief disappears. And belief, once lost, can only be restored by leadership strong enough to reawaken hope. She studied the past carefully. She learned where her ancestors had succeeded and where they had failed. She understood that restoring glory was not about returning to old ways but about advancing beyond them. While others focused on defending borders, she focused on expanding influence. While others prepared for war, she prepared for prosperity. She knew that true power was not measured only in armies but in stability, wealth, culture, and respect. When she stepped fully into leadership, resistance followed immediately. Some questioned her legitimacy. Others tried to manipulate her. Many simply waited for her to fail. But she did not respond with anger or fear. She responded with action. She reorganized leadership, choosing competence over loyalty and vision over tradition. She invested in infrastructure, agriculture, and education. She strengthened systems that supported everyday people, because she knew that a nation's strength begins with its citizens. Then came her boldest decision. While others hesitated to look beyond familiar borders, she looked outward. She envisioned her nation not as an isolated power but as a global force of trade, culture, and influence. She authorized ambitious expeditions across seas and deserts, sending emissaries, traders, and explorers to lands many believed were unreachable. It was a gamble, and failure would have confirmed every doubt whispered about her. But she believed that progress always demands courage. When those expeditions returned, they did not come back empty. They returned with gold, rare resources, new knowledge, and symbols of connection to the wider world. Markets flourished. Artisans thrived, the economy revived. But something even more important returned with them: confidence. The people began to stand taller. They began to believe again. They began to remember who they were and imagine who they could become. She understood that greatness must be seen as well as felt. So she invested in monuments, temples, and works of architecture that spoke of order, ambition, and permanence. These were not just buildings. They were messages carved in stone, messages that said this nation was strong, this leadership was capable, and this era would not be forgotten. Every structure reinforced identity. Every inscription reinforced pride. Every public work reminded the people that their future mattered. Challenges never stopped coming. Rival powers tested her borders. Internal factions tried to undermine her authority. Some sought to erase her legacy entirely, but she remained steady. She negotiated when diplomacy was wiser than battle. She defended when strength was required. She balanced tradition with progress, knowing that a ruler who ignores the past loses legitimacy, but one who clings to it loses the future. Enter her reign. Stability replaced chaos. Trade replaced scarcity. Confidence replaced fear. Neighboring nations no longer looked down on her people, they sought alliances. Her leadership reshaped not only her kingdom's economy and influence but its identity. She proved that leadership is not defined by gender, age, or expectation. Leadership is defined by vision, courage, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. Time passed, and her nation stood transformed. What had once been a fading power became a beacon of civilization. Its name traveled far. Its achievements inspired admiration. Its people lived with pride. And although history would later attempt to silence her name, Her impact was too vast to erase completely. Stones remember, cultures remember, and greatness, once achieved, leaves echoes that time itself cannot destroy. Her story teaches us something vital. Glory is not restored by wishing for the past. It is restored by building the future. It is restored when someone dares to lead with clarity instead of fear, with wisdom instead of ego, and with courage instead of conformity. She did not wait for permission to lead. She became the proof that leadership was possible. And today, her story speaks directly to you. Because whether you are leading a nation, a business, a family, or your own life, the principle is the same. When things seem broken, when doubt is loud, when the world questions your place, vision becomes your greatest weapon. Action becomes your answer. Persistence becomes your legacy. If you have ever felt underestimated, remember this queen. If you have ever felt called to restore something that others have given up on, remember her courage. And if you have ever wondered whether one determined person can truly change the course of history, let her life be your answer. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Someone else needs to hear this today. Like this video, share it with others who are searching for purpose, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories that ignite courage, leadership, and belief. Together, we keep these lessons alive. Together, we inspire greatness.